What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you all are having a great start to your day. I know I am, because we got a lot of Mets topics to discuss in the coming days and throughout next week and beyond, with live streams, individual videos, so make sure you have your notifications on set for them. But as we know, the New York Mets are very much going to be interested in a lot of different names in free agency, and one that's been rumored that we have talked about on the channel in 2 separate videos, as you see here. So if you haven't checked them out already, please make sure you do in the description as always. But that is star shortstop for the Houston Astros, and yes, Carlos Correa. And Correa is an impending free agent set to hit the market, and reports have indicated over the past 24 hours plus that he's already weighing his options for the free agent market, with the Mets potentially being one of them. So that's what I'm going to be breaking down in today's video. Everything there is to know about this current report. What is Correa's outlook looking like heading into free agency? What kind of teams will he be dealing with? How do the Mets fit amongst them? And all the other information that you need to know. So as always, guys, make sure you stay all the way till the end of the video. Follow the details and all my thoughts on Carlos Correa, the potential fit with the New York Mets right now, how realistic or unrealistic it is, the current status, and so much more. And again, guys, if you ended up enjoying this kind of Mets content and you want to see more great Mets content like this, please do not hesitate from smashing that like and subscribe button, sharing this video with your friends, on the notification bell, all those great things. Thank you all so much for the continued support, folks. But without further ado, let's jump right into today's video. All right, folks, so to update you on the current status of Carlos Correa, the stud shortstop set to hit the free agent market for the Houston Astros, and has openly said going into the season that he's willing to play secondary positions like third base, for instance, and potentially even second base. Has been rumored out there for all the people saying that, oh no, there's no way the Mets could go after him because he's not a natural third baseman. Trust me, it's very much a possibility if he is in fact willing to come to the Mets, and the Mets are in agreement on getting that deal done, because he's going to cost a lot of money. That's the biggest hurdle. Not even concerned about him being a shortstop versus a third baseman. I'm naturally concerned about the money that's actually going to cost. But getting into Correa now, he has been open about saying how he's ready to basically hit the free agent market, and knowing his worth as someone who's currently the best position player in baseball this year when it comes to WAR, which is wins above replacement, at 7.2, which is a great stat. And I love the fact that Correa actually uses advanced numbers, analytics, if you will. That's something that a lot of players don't use, and it definitely helps advance your game. And there's no denying that Correa is one of the best position players in all of baseball, has been for years now. And regardless of the Astros cheating scandal, he's getting the job done even without it just fine. Look at how dominant he's been in this year's playoffs, to put it lightly. But now getting into Correa some further, he has already reported through the actual radio shows that we have seen of recent Spanish radio shows, saying that he loves the East Coast to begin with, and that he's willing to put on those pinstripes. He's open to the idea. But then when asked in a separate interview to kind of clarify the things, he made it clear that he's not specifying the Yankees pinstripes or the Mets. He said, I'm not saying it's going to be dark blue or it's going to be light blue and orange. All in all, I wouldn't be against it either way. The shade of blue does not matter. So he's already shown his interest in coming to the East Coast, and now to potentially one of these 2 New York teams. So are we going to potentially see a battle of the Subway Series between the Yankees and the Mets and landing him? That is a possibility going into free agency, but again, this is very early. Let's make that clear. A lot goes into this for a guy that's going to have such a big market, even with a market that's flooded by other shortstops and infielders. Correa is leading the way at 27 years of age. If you're looking for a guy with a long-term deal that's going to very much live up to that deal for at least half the time, with the assumption that maybe it goes upwards of 10 years, could go less, maybe 7 or 8, it's a guy like Correa, given his age and how much he's done at this point and how much he's going to continue to do throughout his young career going forward. But between the Yankees and the Mets, this is where things get interesting already, because it's all hypothetical at this point. We have to see who the Mets actually hire as president of baseball operations, GM, all that fun stuff. They need to make sure that's in place before they even go through here. And yes, I do not think it is a strong likelihood the Mets will land Carlos Correa from the forefront, you know, just from reading the book cover, because of how much he's going to cost. I don't know exactly how much money the Mets are going to be willing to allocate in a position like you would say play third, or even the consideration of playing second, meaning that you're going to part ways with Javi Baez. And as much as I love Baez, and trust me, I do, if you're not going to keep him because you're say going to put Carlos at second, I'm willing to do that, knowing just how much better of a player Carlos Correa is versus Baez. Nothing personal, but there's no denying that either. So now, again, I'm not saying that this is going to happen, that is going to happen. I'm just simply relaying the message to what has happened with these reports to this point. But Correa even in the sense of the Mets putting consideration in here, this would be huge for them. But are the Yankees going to be a big problem? Well, you have to look at the connection between the Yankees and the Astros, and we all know that it's not a lovable connection, to put it lightly, right? You know, a lot of Yankees players do not like most of the Astros from the Chain scandal as it was, and that very well could be a big barrier in the way of Correa potentially landing in the Yankees organization. Also, with them having a stud shortstop on the way up in Volpe, I don't know how realistic it actually is of Correa landing in the Bronx. So the Mets might be the front runner in between those two teams as it is, which would be great to see. But again, a lot more hurdles need to happen here. But in a nutshell, Correa is going to have a huge market, and once the Mets actually get these hires down, it'll be a lot more interesting to see how much further they go in allocating their money, because there's no denying that the Mets are going to be going past the luxury tax this offseason. The real question is exactly how much and how willing are they going to, because even with a guy, Correa at third base, if you lock him up long term for a guy that is his secondary position, 1, 2, what are you going to do with your prospects and Brett Beatty, Mark Vientos, Ronnie Mauricio potentially if he shifts to third base as his secondary position from shortstop currently? There's a lot of uncertainties there with the guys you currently have in your system, and if you're willing to block them or not long term. Personally, I'm on the side of things that if there's any guy that I would be willing to have your prospects be blocked, it's for a guy like Carlos Correa. He's a franchise altering talent. There's absolutely no denying that whatsoever, and I understand the lack of appeal in long-term deals, so trust me, that's a perfectly fair argument. That ends up being the reason why the Mets don't land him, then okay, that makes perfect sense at the same time. But we also have to look at what exactly is Correa's interest here. Can the Mets be a top bidder in the end versus other teams? There's been rumors with the Detroit Tigers potentially rekindle his relationship with manager AJ Hinch, and also there's been rumors potentially Justin Verlander if he could go back to Detroit, some former Astros going there. I don't know what's going to happen, but I will tell you that this is going to be very exciting, very interesting heading into free agency, not just between Carlos Correa, but a plethora of names that the Mets will in fact be connected to going further. But it was important to get this out there, just knowing that Correa has already toyed with the idea of potentially landing with one of these two teams from New York. It really just matters what borough is it, what is the interest from either of these two clubs, and ultimately what is the interest for Correa going forward. But again, folks, let me know all your thoughts in the comments below about Carlos Correa. How likely do you think it is for him to land in New York? 1, 2, I want to know exactly what team between the two do you think is more likely, the Yankees or the Mets? And 3, overall, what do you like about Correa or not like about him contract wise versus say going after other players, the realism behind this and all that fun stuff? Please make sure to let me know all your thoughts in the comments below as always, folks. And again, if you ended up enjoying this kind of Mets content and you want to see more great Mets content like this, do not hesitate from smashing that like and subscribe on, sharing this video with your friends, on the notification bell, all those great things. Thank you all so much for the continued support, folks. So much great content's coming out. I have so much comments I gotta answer. I see questions left and right. The schedule has just been so busy over really the past month, so expect me to start answering a lot of them soon heading into next week and beyond. Trust me, I read them, I've been seeing them, but I know there's a lot that I need to get to. And again, thank you so much for the support. I cannot begin to tell you all how much it puts a smile on my face every single day to see how much this community has grown in such a short period of time. Love you all. Thank you so much. Again, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Carlos Correa, is he a fit for the Mets? Is he not? We'll find out soon enough, and I'll talk to you soon, folks. Let's go Mets.